Hi, my name is Miss AyeVee, and I was born and raised right here in Las Vegas, Nevada. I began writing at a very early age, inspired by the life surrounding me and the contrast of growing up somewhere between bright neon lights and the shadow of the city that surrounded it. This, April Flowers, is my first collection of books, and I'm so grateful to be able to share it with you right here at the Las Vegas Book Festival, and I'm honored to be included in the Tapestry of Nevada Poets. This book really expresses my journey over a 30-day period during National Poetry Month in 2018. I was a new mom, 3 months postpartum, filled with joy, excitement, fear, anxiety, and unknown of what was to come. I channeled all of those emotions into writing every day. So each of the poems in this collection are numbered 1 through 30, indicating which day I wrote them. I'm so grateful to take you on this journey with me. And this is April Flowers. I was really inspired by a Persian proverb when I was putting this book together, and I decided to use that as my dedication. He who wants a rose must respect the thorn. I feel so connected to that. This idea of needing to be beautiful and to be soft, but also understanding that we all have our own thorns, and we all have these sharp edges and sharpness to us as divine beings, and that we must respect our softness as much as we respect our harshness. So I thought that that was a beautiful way to begin the journey of April Flowers, because I talk about not just the light and fluffy things. I think it's really important to be vulnerable and to be honest. And at the time that I wrote this book, again, I was 3 months postpartum, so I had lots of different emotions that I was going with, from again the joy of motherhood to the deep depression of postpartum, and I felt like it was really important to represent that in this book. Before we begin, each poem in this book was numbered 1 through 30 to represent each day, of course, that I wrote the poem. So we're going to start right in the middle of my book with 15. My heart creaked loudly, like walking through an abandoned house. Floorboards brittle from tear-fed floods, faded pictures on the walls, memories. Some happy, some too painful to recall. See, resolutions are hard to find here. An abundance of bitter silence, unanswered questions still screaming down empty halls. Can you hear it? This air tastes stagnant, like a lifeless stream long cut off from the ocean, these man-made dams. Too much anger to just let things go. Too scared to just go with the flow. Self-made hurt repeating in cycles. And each time, a new layer of dust falls on the floor, covering the footprints from those there before. My heart and its abandoned corridors, left empty. Some doors are too painful to explore. They say just let it be, and I try, but these shadows, they keep on speaking to me, these ghosts of the past, poltergeists of persuasion, fallen angels guiding me down the wrong path. You see, avoidance is always easier than acceptance, an illusion easier than deliverance. But tell me, how do you clean a haunted house? Thank you. That poem, I felt like, really spoke to those moments when you're in your house, you're by yourself, and you're really just reflecting on the life you've lived, where you're going, where you're at now, and if that life is really working for you. So that's really, the emotions I was, channeling at that time when I wrote that poem. This next poem is entitled 10. And if there's anything that I would love for people to know about me, is that I am very filled with faith. And often in my darkest moments, I reach out in faith to find that strength. And that's where this poem came from. I ask God for a way to see through my uncertainty, the density of gravity weighing more heavily on my shoulders, like invisible boulders, wings extended, but I cannot fly. I cry, I am stuck in the mud, unable to move. Please help me find the way. And God smiled and sent me a lotus, and it bloomed into a sun. So even on my darkest days, he would hold my hand and help light the way. I love that. I think, just the little reminders that the gifts that we get throughout our life, and at that time, the gift of my newborn son, really was what I needed to help inspire me and bring me into the light. And this next poem is entitled Number 8. And I was at a live event in Las Vegas, downtown, and I saw this man dancing with his daughter, and he had her on his shoulders, and just seeing the joy in her and just this trust in her father, that she didn't have to worry. Nothing bad could possibly happen to her, because she just knew, that her dad had her, that her father had her. And that really inspired me about trust, the inspiration of trust. A father danced with his daughter in a crowded courtyard. She sat on his shoulders, carefree, trusting he would never let her fall. No sense of worry at all. Her laughter sounded like angels singing, healing. And I thought, this must be what heaven feels like. The joy of simplicity, the glory of hope, happiness. This has to be what we are all praying for, to trust that he would never let us fall. Thank you. I think that sometimes, we shy away from talking about our journey in faith and talking about God or the universe or whatever word you want to put it on. But for me and my writing, it continues to be a huge source of strength for me. And maybe it can be for you too. This next poem is called 22, and is very special to me because I think that when you're in, this kind of public forum often, and your art is being put out for consumption, it can be really scary, because it's like you're taking these babies and you're putting it out there, and people can really interpret them any way they want. And that is the beauty and the really scary part of being a creative. So I had to really remind myself of my purpose and what I was trying to do, and what my actual dreams were and what I was trying to accomplish. So that's really where 22 came to live. The realization of a dream happens one moment at a time, acknowledging the freedom of each step in the right direction, the knowing following this path will change everything. See, sometimes the realization is simply a matter of slowing down and just watching the unfolding, realizing that your eyes have always been the key you've always been holding. A dream come true. Where else would your feet be leading you to? I love it. So often we don't trust ourselves in our journey. But I truly believe that if we keep putting one foot in front of the other, that we're always going to get exactly where we're supposed to go. So the next poem is 21. And it really, comes to a point in the book where, I feel like you climb that mountain and like you finally get onto the other side of whatever it was that you felt like was holding you back, or the weight on you, or even just coming to the other side of sadness. I finally was able to tap into my own joy and my own happiness. So this is 21. Happiness feels like the sunrise after winter solstice, the longest night met by the brightest day. It feels good to smile this way, like warm petals after the shadows have passed. Food for the soul, growing, reaching towards the sky. I bloom. Cute. I love flowers, obviously. I feel like, I can sit in a garden and just receive so many moments of inspiration and so many insights. So throughout the book, you see that. You see, lots of references to nature, lots of, likenesses to our journey and the journey of a flower and the characteristics of a flower. So you'll definitely see that throughout the whole book. This last poem that I'm going to share with you is the last poem in the book, number 30. And it really helps to kind of bring in that culmination of the journey, of all these different emotions that we went through in the book, and kind of realizing that it was all for a reason, that nothing is ever really in vain. And it really is the journey itself that makes us. So this is 30. Growing through fear and sadness, patience for who I am becoming, carefully climbing mountains, finding happiness just on the other side. Proud of my progress, the happiest I've ever been, surprised at all the baggage I've left behind. My tears have dried, my eyes now cleansed and purified, not bound by memories. Unlocked shackles, those what ifs and could be's, just grateful. Once blind, but now I see. No bad or good, only shade and sun, both are necessary, all are opportunity. The growth, well, it's extraordinary. This is no time for invisibility. I'm not alone in this journey. I share these words. This is my testimony. Discovering myself one poem at a time. Can you see me? Thank you so much. I am Miss AyeVee. This was April Flowers. And you could find me on all social media platforms at Miss AyeVee. So MSAYEVEE, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and also missayevee@gmail.com. If you'd like any more information about bookings or inquiries on my book itself. Thank you so much again, and have a wonderful book festival.